The content in this video was created for documentary and educational purposes only, so if you're not 18 or older, shut it off right now. And if we disappear, go to cannabislifestyletv.com.
Greetings from Slovakia. What the hell?
Slovakia's out. Fucking Thailand. Thailand, man. Thailand makes cannabis. I hate the word marijuana. Make it legal. Now, it's weird. It's weird how it's legal. It's like they just removed it from the illegal list. So I guess, yeah, it's legal, but they're not regulating it like they normally would in other countries. So essentially, it's just not being policed anymore, which is a trip in a place that I thought it was a lot harsher when it comes to the possession charges. But with Thailand opening it up, they're making places like coffee shops that already had alternatives to cannabis, like basically CBD or THC, things like that. And now they actually already can integrate what they've already been growing right into the place legally, which is fucking pretty sweet to see. So big shout out to Thailand making it happen.
I know, I feel like we keep talking about Thailand. At first they're giving out seedlings or
plants.
Yeah, house plants. But I think this said that plans to distribute 1 million marijuana seedlings beginning Friday. So turning Thailand into a weed wonderland. It says, but not following the examples of Uruguay or Canada, the two countries so far that have legalized recreational marijuana on a national basis. And that's what I kind of said to Rob. I was like, it kind of seems like they're like medically making it legal, but decriminalization I think would be obviously the technical and correct term. But I love whoever this public health minister, Anutin Charnvirakul,
better than I would have done.
Okay. Who says, we should know how to use cannabis, says this person that I'm not going to say his name again. Marijuana booster said recently, if we have the right awareness, cannabis is like gold, something valuable and should be promoted. I mean, am I moving to Thailand or what? No. But like that's the mentality. Like, hello, like to hear some public figures of a otherwise international location, like duh, and I was even telling Rob, like, these what was that one, bro? Your Oregon Thai stick, you know what I mean? Like the Thai sticks, like that has to be some sort of landrace strain from, you know what I mean, out that way. There has to be, like, I don't believe you have major motions like this, like in idealisms like this, without a strong cannabis community pushing it forward. It's just like, I don't believe how else that happens.
They were just like, oh, cool. Like, people already have businesses that could look at the menu behind them there. You know what I'm saying? They were ready to do this shit. And like, I was talking with industry insider, and he was talking about how they had a meeting coming up depending on if things went through in Thailand. And I'm like, what the heck are we talking about in Thailand? And that's what kind of got me looking into this more. And then I'm like, damn, they're about to just cut the fucking string and totally open up, the floodgates, which is really cool in terms of like businesses being able to operate too. But then if people exploit it, I'm sure that's when they'll come in with regulations and make it a little harsher. For now, anybody who's already growing and smoking, like, that's amazing. You don't have to worry about going to prison for that. It's awesome.
Oh, for sure. And they said that there's something like 4,000 people that will be, you know what I mean, will quote unquote free up some jail space, you know what I mean, because they've been imprisoned for offenses related to cannabis, will be released.
No shit.
But just to speak on like what you were talking about, like they're like free the weed, but then either people are gonna fuck it up or whatever the case is, and they kind of touch on that just as far as like there's no mention on limits of use, drug impaired driving laws. You know what I mean? So like, somebody go fuck it up. Unfortunately.
Well, luckily, it's not America, so they might be able to last a little longer. Depends. Just depends. My thing with a lot of these scenarios, when you deal with the unregulated legalization, it's for the people. You know what I'm saying? That's really what it's about. I just hope that there's not some dickhead who screws it up for everybody, like you're saying, because that's usually what happens. Somebody will try to exploit this market potentially, but if there's enough legal businesses going and there's no organized crime, I don't think it'd be an issue, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? It should be something that's viable for the community to benefit on, whether they're growing at home or they're going to a small coffee shop in the area.
Absolutely. No, I mean, Amsterdam's cool and all, but Thailand is like super beautiful.
Yeah, oh, that's what I'm saying.
I mean? So, and
Go to a
I'm down
Thai
for some
gym and
pad
shit.
Thai. Like, what's going on? Like,
I like Thai food.
like, it's hard to find good Thai food. We out here.
Yeah.
CLtv goes, baby. You know?
That's what I'm saying, dude. I know Wink would want to go. Let's do it. That's what I'm saying, man.
I'm just saying, you know, they go come up to me and start talking in Taiwanese. I'm gonna be like, what?
Well, this is where seeing the world open up more and having the acceptance of the plant more and more. It's crazy to see a country like Thailand doing it. Of course, I'm not educated on the culture there, so to speak, but to see places like that in Asia doing this, you know, it really opens up a new perspective of that side of the world, where people would think that they'd never do it. But Western medicine is more of what the concern, I feel like, of keeping it illegal has been. So with Eastern, maybe things will be different. You know, we'll see if it can spread, if that green rush can kind of move its way out and more get coastal potentially too. It'd be pretty cool.
I mean, this is me quoting the back of my brain, so that's not a reputable source, but
That's pretty
I feel like, you know, like in Asian in culture, like they've used cannabis more, not openly, but in more recent history, in a medicinal way, in teas and stuff like that, you know what I mean? And clearly, like, you know, the opium thing, but I don't want to bring that up to scrutinize against the fact that, like, Eastern medicine is a little bit more open. It's a little bit more holistic. It's a little, you know what I mean? So maybe with this motion towards decriminalization, a little bit more normalization, you know, you'll see that loosening, not only in Thailand, but a ripple effect a little bit, you know, because that'll make a difference for sure.
Yeah, I definitely see it being a thing, you know, especially if we've got people who are just keeping it low key over there. I think it'd be a lot easier. And then depending again on the culture, people exploit shit a lot in America, so it's easy to see. But I'm sure it's not just America. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I feel like I mean, I don't necessarily know the culture other than like what I just said, pad Thai and like beautiful views, but
Good boy Thai.
I feel like their approach is like, hey, we're giving everybody a plant. Versus like, here's a plant count. You know what I mean? They're like, here, we're giving everybody a plant. Y'all know where the coffee shops are. Don't fuck around. You know what I mean? Like,
they're literally endorsing it, as where our country is like, how can we exploit this shit? How can we take control of this shit? What can we do to make this our industry? Versus like, yeah, we don't give a fuck. We realize it's not harmful. There's more good than bad. So whatever, have at it.
Well, yeah, and they don't have a war on drugs necessarily. If anything, like, they're giving up the thing that I feel like, and this is my personal thing, that is why they won't let it go, is because, like I said, like, what's the easiest thing to get busted with, you know? Same reason I was busted with it is because of the fucking smell. You know, like, it's just, like, you could be, like, the most inefficient cop in the world and still bust somebody with, you know, cannabis. And so I feel like that's a major reason why it was implemented in the first place, as far as, like, the war on drugs, and why you saw that ripple effect around the world of like, oh, the U.S. doesn't mess with it, and we need certain things from the U.S. or vice versa. We need their money for the things that we have in our country. So we're gonna, you know, take that same standpoint. And now, as I've mentioned, I feel like, you know, in talking about like Amsterdam or whatever, like used to be this mega capital. Now, like, where do you think about all the, you know, dank is dank coming from? To me, it's like America. You know what I mean?
America.
At this point, because there's just so much, you know, gray, black, and regulated side of things that is going down. So I think the world kind of peeps it, goes, well, they got dope everywhere. You know what I mean? Hopefully you'll see more of that open up, and even like, you know, with peace situation where you have, you know, certain things that he would like to see changed, or certain things he would have liked to see go a different way, you know, as far as his country's regulation. Like, I think it's just that, you know what I mean? Just like the states that we see, like each country that makes it legal, it's an example. How'd they do it? Did they do right by it? Was it overregulated? Was it really a legalization, or was it a decriminalization, or was it a recriminalization? Like, like, I think it's like there's a lot of subject to interpretation when you're talking per state, and then it's almost overwhelming to look at the globe.
Yeah, well, and that's where, like, in a smaller country, you're not going to probably see as much fluctuation in province or states, but in larger places, they got to leave it more up to those smaller governments. So hopefully they don't fuck it up. It's like kind of passing them the football, a little forward lateral, take it, and hopefully they can do well. They could do well, but unfortunately, I don't trust the government anywhere. But we'll see, man. Like I always say, I'm a pessimist in a lot of areas, but I try to be optimistic when it comes to legalization or whatever you want to call this here. It's weird because legalization to me always seems like regulation right away. But those are two separate things.
You're not wrong, but I think, like you said, wisely, we can't sit back and go, well, we'll just let them fuck around, like we can do our part. The ones who know better can do our part to help as much as we can for it to not be, capitalized or you know what I mean, kind of just infiltrated with the bullshit that we tend to see and tend to go, well, there ain't no point, big bad wolf done came through, so yeah. What I hope, like you say, is that Thailand's an example.
That'd be cool. We'd be making a trip out there if it is. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, I ain't mad at it.
It all boils down to the dollar, though. We'll see where it goes. And LB, you're right there, thinking just like me, man. It all boils down to the dollar. We'll see if these small businesses can generate enough revenue for them to be like, oh shit, could you imagine if we let the corporations in? When are we gonna see a cookie shop out there? You know what I'm saying?
Dude, they just had one in like France or something weird.
Yeah, I think I saw that. Yeah.
Like what? Someplace fucking international, and that's crazy. And I don't know if that's really. I don't think it's weed. I think it was just the clothing, but still.
Still, I mean, I'm not opposed to someone like Cookies going to a place like and trying to integrate into a different market, so to speak. But I'm just saying it's going to open up the MedMens and the bigger sides. But I know a big brand like Cookies will make their way to Thailand and hopefully do decent for the people. Hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's a Gorilla Grows everywhere, right? But I guess I just never thought about it like that. That they,
It's a new opportunity, man. That's why there's McDonald's everywhere. You know what I'm saying?
For sure. I just mean, like, is there the population there to know better? Like, even what we're seeing, where, yeah, you have the capital, or yeah, you have, the business knowledge to apply to this category. But at the end of the day, designing like a car part, you can hire an engineer, you can tell them what you want, you can do that. Like a plant's a little different. A plant, you have to give it what it wants,
Unless you're getting that Israel virus, you could toss in that motherfucker.
Oh, Lord.
Then you're good to go, baby. Get them GMO weed.
Well, I wasn't going to go there, bro. I wasn't going to promote that,
Not promoting it, just to be clear. No, man. So, yeah, I think that pretty much covers that side of things. We should talk about it still.
Yeah, we could talk about it all day, but it's like
it's like an endless conversation because there's no end result until it happens.
Yeah, like they could do this, or they could do that, or they could do this, but they could do that, but they'll probably do something that like we'll go through 50 things, they'll do something, like, because a lot of the time, unfortunately, the people putting this stuff in place are not, they ain't the real ones, they ain't the stoners, they ain't the stony and successful people out there living the lifestyle, and not that always those things are going to, like, obviously a person living like a complete cannabis lifestyle may not be the political standpoint person, but I think you should at least advise said stony person when writing laws about,
Yeah, well, this is what we were talking about before, about getting into the industry more. I just had this talk earlier, I think we did with Matt. I don't know who the fuck it was with. No, I was talking with the Gromies. And I was like, man, like, imagine if, like, your best street dealer was your main supplier at the dispensary. You know what I'm saying? I bet you it'd probably be a better experience. Like the one who hooked it up right, who knew their shit, who was on point, who was just like the one you trusted. That motherfucker right there, if he had his own shop, you'd be like, damn, if he had access to this and he knew good customer service and he knew good product and his prices were fair, well, damn, that'd be amazing. Well, the problem is most of these guys don't get into that because they got maybe charges or they don't have the capital or they're afraid to get in the space because they think it's selling out or it's being a part of a wrong, like the wrong industry. But man, we need to change that industry. I think that we're the ones we got the knowledge, so why not have the power? That's fuck it is. These dudes with money will fork over bags to any of us who come in there with knowledge and a good growing Instagram fucking following. Like I've seen it firsthand. It's crazy. So it just boils down to, finding the right players in the space and aligning with them and making sure we could change this for the good. So that way there's good product out there, good businesses, taking care of the consumer for the people who don't want to grow or can't grow. You know what I'm saying? At scale.
Wonderful.
This video is brought to you by Mars Hydro, one of the leading names in affordable LED lighting for your garden. From lighting to fans and tents, Mars Hydro can save you $1 while not skimping on the quality. Use discount code CannabisTV to save on your next order with Mars Hydro. Plant Revolution, creators of king crab, mycochum, orca, and of course, great white mycorrhizae. If you're wanting the root system to get you the quality and quantity from your plants, you need Plant Revolution in the garden. Use discount code CLtv to save on your next order.
Like we always do about this time.